This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 130 of Super Yacht News. Okay, so the first story I want to talk about is the sailing yacht that was sunk in Tarragona. You remember this one? We've featured it a couple of times. That vessel was hit by a search and rescue vessel, ironically. The vessel got a giant hole in the side of it and sank within 30 minutes. All of the crew were on board when this happened, so it was a miracle really that nobody was injured or killed even. Anyway, the vessel has been sat at the bottom of the marinas ever since, so 3 months, and a team has recently come in with the idea of raising this yacht. So I had some photographs sent through to me from Tarragona Marina, posted some photos, and you can see them on the screen right now, and that shows that the lifts, or the cranes should I say, that are going to lift the vessel are now in place. So it looks imminent that this vessel is going to start getting raised. The vessel was called Eleanor E, and it was a replica of a boat from 100 years ago. And it was just moored there when that vessel crashed into it. It was ruled as an accident, of course, because the people doing the investigations are the government, and the search and rescue vessel is a government vessel. I'm not saying that there was anything untoward there, but they ruled it as an accident with no one to blame. And the insurance company said the vessel was a total loss, obviously, because it's at the bottom of the marina. The good news is that that vessel is going to be raised in one piece, because some of the companies that were, when they put out the contract, some of them wanted to chop it up into pieces and move it away. This company is going to lift it up and move it in one piece. So the plan is to use flotation bags to patch up the hole on the side, drain that water out, and then move it to a shipyard about 800 meters away. So obviously they're going to lift the vessel off the seabed and then fix the hole in the side of it. So it's probably going to be a while before they can patch that up. But it does look like they're about to start that operation. We'll bring you more obviously when we know more. So on to the main story, and that is 2 banks have suspended the use of the Russian Mir system in Turkey. Now the Mir system is like the Visa system or the MasterCard system, and it was implemented a few years ago, mainly because of the sanctions that were put on the Russians when they invaded Crimea. And they started to use this system because they started to get sanctioned. Now, obviously, since they've invaded the main part or the rest of Ukraine, the sanctions have ramped up, and they have blocked the Russians from using those Visa and MasterCard systems and the SWIFT systems. So this is a money transfer, digital money transfer system like Visa and MasterCard, as I said. And 2 banks in Turkey, they've suspended the use. The first one was yesterday, and Istanbul listed IS Bank said that they were suspending clients' use of Mir cards, saying that it was seeking clarity on the sanctions. Now, a little later in that same day, yesterday, Denizbank told Reuters that they were unable to provide service in Mir after earlier saying that the bank acts in accordance with international sanction regulations. The reason for this is believed to be pressure from the US government. At the moment, it's just 2 banks, right? But if other banks follow suit, then it could have a big effect on all of the super yachts that are currently in the safe haven that is Turkey, right? So when the hostilities broke out and the Russians invaded Ukraine, all of the yachts started to leave the EU, and they found quickly a safe haven in Turkey. And there are many, many yachts in Turkey. Abramovich got both his yachts there. Oh, he's actually got he's got a few yachts there, like 4 yachts there right now, because he's got 100 yachts. You've got Flying Foxes there. You've got Ragnar, Pacific. There's so many boats, I couldn't even name them all right now. They're all in Turkey right now. Now, I've been told for months now that a lot of the companies that deal with yachts, ships chandlers and fuel and stuff like that, they're insisting on cash payments. So they're already aware of the sanctions and they all want cash, right? With the Mir system not being accepted now, it's going to be a problem, because All the ships, the way the ships work is they have credit cards given to them by the ship's owners, and they use those cards for payments, right? So if those payments are not being accepted now, then it could cause problems, because they can't use any cards that use Visa or MasterCard. They can't use the SWIFT system, so they must be using one of these Russian systems, right? Now, if those banks in Turkey are not accepting those payments, then it means that there's going to be problems. Now, I've worked on yachts in the past where owners have turned up on the yacht with a suitcase full of money and paid all the crew in cash because they were having problems transferring money. This was way back before any of this stuff happened. Now, that's probably still happening right now. As far as paying the crew, I would imagine that's probably what's happening, because they can't pay into their banks anymore, because the way it normally works is we give the management company a bank account details, and then they pay that money straight into our bank account. Well, they can't do that right now. Any of the crew who are from Western countries, like if they're from the US or the UK or Europe, they can't accept payments through those systems. So they're probably getting paid in cash. So this is going to possibly create a problem. Now, every time one of those owners flies in on his private jet, it's a good chance that there's a suitcase there that's full of cash. So they'll probably be paying with that, right? There are also yachts that have come through the Bosphorus from Sochi, such as Sputnik, which is a support vessel allegedly owned by Oleg Deripaska. And that vessel came through the Bosphorus and went round to Gojek, and has been going to different places in Turkey recently. Now, this is just speculation, but they could have been delivering cash for all we know, or fuel or whatever, because it's a support vessel, right? So yeah, so that's potentially a big deal. And we might see yachts leaving Turkey in the near future. It's possible. Anyway, we'll bring you updates when we know more. All right, so on to an update on sailing Yacht A. So you remember in a few videos ago, we talked about the fact that sailing Yacht A had recently returned to the dry dock where she was when she was originally arrested by the Italian financial police. And it's been in the jurisdiction, if you like, of the Italian government ever since. And I made a video about this recently. I talked about how they're paying all the bills of the crew and all of the upkeep and insurance and everything. If you want to see that video, I'll put a link up here in the top left-hand corner, and I'll put it in the description. So the vessel was missing the forward mast. It was in the process of having that repaired when the vessel was arrested. And then after the vessel was arrested, it was sat in that dry dock for such a long time. Fincantieri, the shipyard that owns that dry dock, they put pressure on the government to move the vessel. So they put the vessel out to anchor so they could continue to use that dry dock. Well, now Sailing Yacht A has gone back into the dry dock, and it has had that mast re-stepped. I was a bit confused about this because no work is supposed to be carried out on any yachts that have been sanctioned, right? So we contacted Fincantieri and we asked them what's going on. So they came back to us and said, we can't give you any information. You need to speak to the Italian government, the Italian Public Property Agency. They gave us some details, so we contacted them. We asked them the same question: what's going on with the boat? And they wrote back in Italian, and they basically said, for confidentiality and security reasons, information related to freezing procedures is covered by office secrecy. Therefore, the Demanio agency may not make statements or disclose any further information on the freezing procedures compared to what was already being communicated, which is nothing as far as I could see, in accordance with the provisions of the current regulatory framework contained in Legislative Decree 109-2007. Now, if you want to know more about that decree, watch my video, because we talk about that and we explain that decree and how it involves the reason why the Italians have to pay for the upkeep and how much they're paying for this vessel every month. That's what we got back, which is basically saying we're not telling you anything, right? So that we didn't get any answers there. But we'll keep trying and we'll bring it to you as soon as we get something. All right, one more thing before I go. Motor yacht Dilbar, we mentioned a while ago now that we got wind that the vessel is going to move. That vessel is arrested in Hamburg. It's in a dry dock. It's been there since March. It was one of the first boats to be arrested. Largest vessel in the world by volume. owned by Alicia Usmanov, and the vessel's been sat there. They had the shaft. I think the shafts were removed from the vessel at the time, which is basically where the propeller is attached to, and so they had an open area there that they were working on. They have since sealed those areas so they can refloat the vessel. Now, we've had word that the vessel is moving tonight around midnight. So if you live in Hamburg and you don't want to go to sleep, get your drone out and get ready for that, because they're going to move that vessel tonight. That's what we've been told anyway. So yeah, so we'll bring you more. You can see the footage here of Dilbar, where she is right now in the dry dock in Hamburg. But yeah, she's most likely not going to be there tomorrow or the next time we make a video. The vessel is reportedly going to Bremen, and we're going to monitor, and we're going to try and bring you footage of the vessel arriving in Bremen. It will take a while. I've done that trip myself, and it does take a little while to get there. And the vessel's being towed as well, because it can't move under its own steam. I've got one more thing to say. I have launched a new channel. Yes, it's a brand spanking new channel. You may have seen a channel, if you're interested in this, which I am, called 3 Minutes of Aviation. And basically it's a 3-minute video of different things happening in different places with different aircraft and stuff like that. It's a fascinating channel. Well, I've got a channel now called, smartly called 3 Minutes of Maritime. It's not going to be limited to super yachts. It's going to be any maritime footage that's been captured. I've already put a video out. I'm going to put a link up here and in the description. Please go over and subscribe. Help me out, because I've got to get 1,000 subscribers to be able to monetize that channel. But I will bring, if you see the first video, it's really interesting, and it's very simple format, but it's really, it is quite contagious. I watched the 3 Minutes of Aviation channel a lot, and it's really good. So I've given him a free plug and I've stolen his idea at the same time. So, but yeah, go over, check it out, subscribe to that channel. I much appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you've got any information about any of the stories we mentioned, be sure to get in touch. You can get us through the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram. You can get us on Facebook Messenger, and you can get us on Threema. Be sure to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell for future notifications. All right, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.